Ciao and welcome. It is absolutely beautiful outside. Sunny weather, blue skies, 25 degrees, barbecue time. And guess what? It's Julie's birthday. She absolutely loves lamb, but it is not the sort of meat we buy very often as it is quite expensive, except for special occasions. Here I've got some lamb which is being rolled. This is breast, and I will be unrolling it, and then I will be putting some stuffing on the inside with some Mediterranean herbs. Then I will close it again and I'll cook it on the barbecue long and slow, alongside with some vegetables and some potatoes, and I'll show you. I will only be using fresh herbs today, all picked from our garden. Here is a little bunch of parsley. These are 5 leaves of sage, a few leaves of mint, and some fresh rosemary. And the rosemary is where I start from, as it's still attached to the little branch, so I will remove it first. And I'll join everything together, and I'll start chopping everything with my knife. I will be making a marinade, and I'll be using this for both the lamb and the vegetables. And I'm chopping everything together as fine as I can until I'll end up with something which is really fine, almost like sand if you look. And here I've got a glass bowl ready. I'll pick everything up and I'll move it inside it. My next ingredient is going to be garlic. I'm going to be using a couple of small cloves or a large one. And today I'm going to be using my garlic crusher, as I want this to be very fine. So here is my bowl, and I'll crush them in, and I will add them to all of my chopped herbs together. Next I'm going to be adding a little pinch of salt and a good amount of ground black pepper, followed by a very generous amount of olive oil, and I'll mix everything together, and I will leave now this to marinate while I get the other ingredients ready. On the vegetable front, I'm going to be using a couple of medium carrots. I'll remove the bum and the head. I've already scrapped these, so they do not need to be peeled. And I'll cut them diagonally, about 1 to 1.5 centimeter each piece. Likewise, I've done the same with a couple of potatoes, medium size, and I'm now chopping them into 4 pieces so that I can make some wedges, just like this. Onions next. I've just peeled a red one, and I'm now peeling a white one, but entirely up to you. You can have 2 red ones, 2 white ones, doesn't really matter, whatever your choices and preferences are. And having removed the skin, I'm now chopping them into 4 pieces, a bit like I did with the potatoes, so I will end up with 8 pieces altogether. Now, before I go any further and I forget, I'm going to be reserving a good dessert spoon of my marinade. I will use this at the very end once the lamb is finished. And I'll start with the vegetables first, and I'll throw everything inside my glass bowl. And I'll mix everything together, ensuring that every piece of vegetable is covered by my marinade. And I'm now removing just the potatoes from my marinade, as these will be cooking separately to start with, and then I'll finish them off with the rest. So my vegetables are ready. I've got a cast iron dish here, which I will be using for the barbecue. And of course you can make also this meal in your oven inside. You do not have to have a barbecue to do this. But if you got a barbecue, wood or gas, it will taste considerably better because of the charcoal and smokiness of it. But at the moment I'm just moving all of my vegetables inside my oven dish. And whilst my hands are covered in oil, I'm making sure that the base of my oven dish is well greased, and I will move all of my vegetables on the side as the lamb will be sitting here. And back to my marinade. So here it is. I will be adding now a little bit more olive oil, as some has been already used by the vegetables. I have removed the crust from a couple of slices of bread, which I will be eating later, and I will be using fresh bread to make some homemade breadcrumbs. You could also use the dry stuff if you like. The reason why I'm opting for fresh breadcrumbs is because it's already a bit wetter, and I do not want the breadcrumbs to absorb too much of my oil, so today I'm opting for fresh breadcrumbs. And as you can see, I'm using my hands to crumb them up. In no time at all, I've got perfectly formed breadcrumbs. So I'll put them in one hand. Here is my marinade, and I'll add it to it. And I'm mixing everything together to ensure that the bread absorbs as much as possible that lovely marinade. This is a fresh ball of mozzarella, and I'm now going along with my knife, and I'm cutting into little slices first. Then I'll turn them around, and I'll go back and I'll make them into tiny little pieces. Of course, you can also use a cheese grater if you wish. And back to my marinade, before I forget, is also some Italian Parmigiano Reggiano. So I will be grating a good couple of dessert spoons. But you can add more, or you can add less, or you can add none if you don't want to. And that is perfect. So here is my rolled lamb breast, and I need to remove the strings first, so I'll go along with a knife and do that. And this will unroll incredibly easily. Look, see, it's very simple to do. There are a couple of pieces, so I'll make sure that I'll put it back as it was so that I can roll it back later. And here I go, I'll start adding my marinade and breadcrumbs combined to it, and I'll make sure that I'll pour everything on top of it. And you can either use a spatula or you can use your hands, entirely up to you. I find that using my hands for these jobs is considerably easier. But I'm staying away from the edges so that by the time I roll it back it will still stay together. And all I've got left now is just to add the mozzarella which I've chopped. There it goes. I'll tap it down and I'll go in reverse now and I'll start rolling back. This is the only time where I need to be careful as it was split, but if I apply a little pressure it will be fine. And there it is, look, in no time at all it's back to what it was, but a little bit bigger. Last weekend I cooked a duck and I started cooking it here in Norfolk and I finished it in Leicester. And when I finished it in Leicester I used some cooking wire to wrap it together, but unfortunately I left it behind, so I'm having to improvise. So I would have used cooking wire just like before, but as I haven't got any, I'm going to be using these metal skewers, which should be just as good really. So I'll just go along and I'll secure it. And I'll do a couple this way, and then the other couple I will put one this way like this so that it'll grab it sideways. I'll put the last one over here so that I should get a fairly good seal altogether. Hopefully I will not manage to stab myself. There you go, there it is. And this is ready to go back in my oven tray, which is here, and I'll pick it up and there it goes. And before it goes on the barbecue I've got some dry white wine, half a glass, and I'm going to be pouring it on the sides. Make sure that you do not put on top of your lamb, just like this. And before it goes out on the barbecue I'm just going to add a little bit more pepper on the top. And I'm ready to go outside. Mine is a gas barbecue, so it will not take very long to get to temperature. So I'll see you in a few minutes, but also I will show you what to do with the potatoes. So just like an indoor oven, my barbecue is at temperature and I've taken it to just below 180 degrees. So it's really good. So I will now add my food, and I'll start with my meat, and I'll position it over here. Perfect. And with the potatoes I'm going to be laying them down initially like this so that the pointy part of the wedge is downwards. You will be surprised how quickly they will cook. So I'll come along in about 5 minutes and I'll turn them around. So I'll close the door. The lamb will take about an hour to an hour and a quarter, depending on how you like it. If you want it rare, you can actually eat lamb rare, 50 minutes. If you want it well done, an hour and a quarter. I'll check it after 50 minutes and then I'll establish. But I'll show you what I do with the potatoes because they will be going with the lamb eventually. So it's in a little while. In 10 minutes on we are ready to turn the potatoes. As I mentioned before, look, the lamb is already bubbling away, looks beautiful. So as I mentioned, they do not take long at all, and if I just start turning them around you can see that they are cooking already. And I actually cook potatoes like this all the time in the summer on the barbecue. Normally I tend to do them in slices rather than wedges, but as I'm doing this sort of roast I decided that wedges look nicer. So I will leave them for another 7 or 8 minutes and then I'll add them to the rest. Okay, and within 5 minutes I'm ready to move my potatoes, which are totally cooked now, with the rest of the other vegetables. And while I'm at it, I will also give the other vegetables a little shake to ensure that they cook throughout. And this has now been cooking for about 15 minutes, so I will turn this around so that I'll start browning all sides. And I'll place it in the middle now. I'll close the lid, and every so often, every 10 to 15 minutes, I'll turn the meat so that it gets slowly and brown until it's fully cooked. So I will see you now once everything is cooked, so I won't keep doing this every time. See you at the end. And we are ready. I got a little cardio on us. The wind got up and it got a little bit chilly, but dinner is ready. It's been just over an hour, And I have actually been turning, as I said I would. And by the way, also I did turn it and let it stand on its head like that for about 5 to 10 minutes, and I did the same over here, and I moved the dish to the middle. Also what I did, I have turned the middle off after about half an hour, and I just left the two on the sides cooking, so that there is an indirect heat and it will not burn underneath. If you've got the ability to do that in your barbecue, ideal. If not, don't worry, just turn it down a little. But I will turn it off now, and we can finish it off. You will recall that I kept a little of the marinade earlier, and I said I will leave this for the end. And now that it's off, I'll just pour it on top of my joint like this. And being that everything is fresh and uncooked, it will renew the flavour, and the meat is still very, very hot, of course, and it will absolutely combine everything wonderfully. And one final sweep of my vegetables and potatoes, so that all of the juices are absorbed. And I'll leave it for a few minutes, a couple, 2 or 3 minutes, and then I'll slice it, and then we can see what it's like on the inside. I've actually stabbed it, by the way. I'll show you. And the juices are coming up clear, and so it is actually an indication that it's also cooked on the inside. However, even if they were pink, because this is lamb, you can eat it pink. It's not a problem, but in our case, we will have it maybe a little bit on the pinkish side.
A touch pink.
Big touch pink. So 2 minutes and I'll be with you. Okay, let's move it to my board over here, and I must remember, of course, to remove my metal skewers. Here's my third one. There should be a fourth one somewhere. Here it is. And number 4. I'm going to turn it so that you can see better, and the sun is shining against my meat. I'll square it up by removing a slice over here first. You can see what I mean.
Oh,
slightly pink, but very, very edible. And if you look here, you can see the mozzarella oozing out. So let's test some from here. A little piece. And also, while I'm at it, I will get hold of a little piece of onion and a small carrot, a little potato. Why not? And my meat. Let's do it properly. It is Julie's birthday after all, absolutely. And I get to taste it.
And I can't even eat it yet.
Yeah. Too big to talk. Oh, what can I say? It's absolutely delicious. It's absolutely wonderful. Make it, and I know that lamb is expensive, but for a special treat, it's a great experience. Let me know if you do, and write it in the comments. Happy birthday, Julie.
Thank you.
And see you later. Thank you for watching. Ciao.
And just a little aside from me, if you look carefully, everybody behind him, you'll see the little blue tits going in and out of their nest, which is behind that bush directly behind him. And as he's been chatting, they've been in and out, they're feeding their babies, look. Yeah.
We got a camera in there, so we can see them in our telephones.
We've got about 6 babies, we think, at the moment, haven't we?
Oh,
I think
okay.
there's about 6. Yeah. Anyway, sorry about that. Bye, everyone.
Ciao, ciao again.